Hey everyone, I'm Ass Connection,
I'm Dubs Glass.
and this is Seriously Stoned.
Today's guest is Whitetail Glass
What's up? What's up?
and 203 Hetty from the Hetty
up?
Swap Meet.
What's up, fellas? How are you guys?
Doing pretty good today.
Awesome, guys. So, welcome. And do you guys want to tell us a little bit about yourselves?
My name's Kyle. I'm Whitetail Glass. I'm a functional glass artist. I make anything from rigs to pipes to bongs to anything as in cremation pendants to wine glasses.
Oh, you do the cremation pendants?
I do.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. I'm sure you have a lot of demand for that.
Not so much because not very many people think that pipe makers like us make cremation pendants, but we do.
Oh, shit.
Nice. I'm Chris 203 Hetty or the Hetty Swap Meet, and I just pretty much collect things that people like Kyle make. And then I also run an event for other collectors like myself where we can all kind of come together and showcase our collections and trade and swap available work.
How often do you guys do that?
We do it about once a month. We're just going to start a new location in Vermont towards the beginning of next year in 2020. So looking towards next year, I think we're going to do every other month in Mass and every other month in Burlington.
Oh, that'll be dope.
Yeah, his events are actually pretty awesome. I've bought, sold, and traded plenty of glass at these events. He's going on his fourth or fifth one, and they're picking up in popularity. It's a good way to meet other collectors, get in the market. There's stuff price ranged from $50 all the way up to thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's great to have like a wide variety of pieces there, and I love how we always have a good selection from, $50 pendants to, multi-$1,000 rigs. And it's great that we're able to swap things amongst the community because sometimes you're not necessarily like, oh, I want to get rid of it, but I'd like something new. And to find a way to help collectors both walk away happy is something that I love to do. You got the salt there, right?
Yep. I got the salt piece there, and the Mueller Sherlock.
Are we going to talk about that? Because I kind of think we should bring it up, and with that, talk about your two-strike rule.
Yeah. Spike broke my Mueller Sherlock that was on last week's episode.
Sorry, I was
Shattered
a
into
rude
pieces.
asshole with the phone. My bad.
And yeah, it's a sensitive subject. But before we get really started on the show, I just wanted to mention with Colin here that we're gonna be moving our studio next week. Next week we're gonna be
Moving on up.
moving on up, yeah,
Nice.
to a new studio, and the Care Factory is gonna be hosting us over there. We're super excited. They're doing big things over there.
I think it's exciting that not only this quickly we're moving to a new spot to do it, but I think it's cool because the spot's going to be very conducive to maybe do some live broadcasts where we have like a live studio audience. It'll be a really cool opportunity to, really see where this show can go. So yeah, shout out to the Care Gang.
There's also an event space, so you guys could possibly like podcast from events, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly, yeah.
That would be
That'll
awesome.
be awesome.
Yeah, just to hire. It's like not that like where we do this now doesn't work. Just a higher quality. Like we can ensure that it's going to be quiet. We can ensure that it's shut down to us. We can ensure that there's not going to be any background noise. Like we had a special showcase from our man Spike last week. I love Spike, but shh, be quiet, man. Yeah, no, man. Those Hetty Swap Meets have really taken off for you. Now you're from this New England area, right?
Yeah, I'm from the New England area originally. I'm from the 203 originally, and then I moved up to Mass about a year ago. And yeah, I'm just trying to find a way to connect collectors. My, long-term plan is I definitely want to try to get these as, spread out as possible and try to work with, collectors and soon artists to bring in local artists to showcase their work and hopefully through that expand their, their market by bringing them to our swap meets in other states where, you have a lot of local artists that are well respected in their region, but don't have the ability to necessarily make that outreach as like doing a show somewhere else.
For sure. No, it definitely seems like you're having a lot of success with it. And you're not from New England, right? You got a little bit of a traveling story, right?
Yeah, I've been to all 50 states already.
Oh, no shit. That's awesome. I've always wanted to do that. That's so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm from Utah, but I've lived on all four corners of the states, from Florida to Alaska to Texas to up here in Connecticut and Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm. Alaska.
But
real cold, right?
Where I was, it got a little cold, but up in the main state, it's where it gets to be like negative 50. But we only got to see like negative 20.
That's wild. Imagine.
Okay, I'm gonna be real with you. Negative 20 is cold. It's cold.
Oh yeah.
I like this whole. I mean, it was kind of negative 20 is cold.
Well,
like, I know it can be colder, but that's still cold.
It's definitely cold as fuck. But
so today we're going to be talking about art, collecting art, making art, all different forms. It's not just for super rich people. It's not for people that
just want to squirrel away a bunch of dough and a glass collection.
It's more than that. Everybody sees a piece and they connect with it, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I see stuff like this salt piece. This is first thing I said. It's the Beard Comber 3000, bro. It's got a built-in beard comb. It's perfect.
It's all
I
about
don't even
touch.
know if I want to get rid of it. And it's got a scrubber pad. Like,
keep your looks clean. But
can't beat that.
Can't beat it.
It's amazing when you make a pipe and then you give it to somebody else and they point out something about it that you've never seen before. Like, these bumps make me feel pretty great, or they like the way that, like you said, the spikes. I don't think Salt would ever say that was a beard comb.
No, definitely.
But like you, the consumer, you take something and you find a whole nother aspect of it that the artist never realized. And that's one of the things that I love about making stuff is I get those stories from those people, and it brings me into their life, and I know that I'm in their life with their piece and its connection.
Mm-hmm. Not to put you on the spot, but like, what's the wildest thing someone's ever said? Like, oh wow, this that you didn't even like take into consideration. Maybe even an emotion. Like, I know you do the cremation pendants.
So in Alaska, I did a cremation pendant for a father that lost both his wife and his son in the same car accident. And he wanted me to combine their ashes together and make a pipe out of that so he could always smoke with his son and his wife at the same time.
Wow.
That really choked me up when I was doing it, and his reaction at the end of that, he tipped me more than he should have, because that he would never be able to do that if I hadn't done that. So we definitely had a connection there.
I'm sure the cremation pendies are kind of like a high stakes game because you don't want to fuck up.
Yeah,
the ashes.
Yeah,
definitely.
You get one chance.
For real, and like, if you do mess up, it feels really bad, like, to me as a person, because like that's actually a person that I'm doing, like, I'm
putting into the glass.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's why a lot of artists probably don't. Is that kind of like, does that seem to be
I
the
mean,
general consensus?
Yeah, there's a lot of
think so.
artists that don't do human remains, but there are artists that do like animal remains, such as
they'll
dogs.
fuck with your dog. All
Yeah,
day.
exactly, because it's a dog, it's an animal. But to me, it's the same thing. It's carbon.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
So, let's kick it off with a question. Like, what got you into collecting glass, and what got you into blowing glass? Let's start with Chris.
So I started collecting when I was going to school up in Vermont. I went to school in Burlington, which is the home of the Pipe Classic, which is a giant competition. I think they're going on 15 years.
Yep. Shout out Pipe Classic.
Yeah, Pipe Classic is the best, but it's 12 hours, 12 artists competing, and it was going on just, a 5-minute walk from my campus. So I was a freshman in college, loved smoking weed, loved art, but never really, connected the two. My little brother's a painter, so I've always loved art, and one day just downtown looking for a cheap bowl, I came across Pipe Classic and saw, I think it was Sheen and, some other like really heavy hitting artists competing that year, and was just blown away by what I saw, and very quickly got, immersed in the culture and immersed in, this is, so much more than just a pipe. Mm-hmm. And very quickly decided to leave school and focus, all my energy into, buying and selling pipes and really working in this industry the best I could.
Fuck yeah, man. That's awesome.
I went to Pipe Classic 2 years in a row with Chris, and it's a blast up there. If you guys ever have a chance to go, get yourself a VIP pass, go to the after parties.
Come hang out with us.
Come hang out, check out some really sick glass, some sick art, stuff that I would never even think of bringing out into the public to let people put their hands on. But
I'm not trying to be rude, but is this the same fucking joint from last week, bro?
No, I smoked that last night.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just making sure. It looks an awful lot like the one from last week.
We won't be here because we'll be in the studio next week.
But about like the after parties and whatnot, that really also kickstarted it. The next year, I was interested in glass. I had started collecting a little bit, but going to the after parties and meeting the artist really brought me into this community, especially over a different art collecting, because there's such accessibility with the artist where you can really, as a collector, form a bond with the artist you're collecting, and it gives you options you wouldn't have in other art mediums to work with them on customs and something like that, to commission a piece where you can really see both of your visions come to life in a piece of glass.
Yeah, some of my best customers are also some of my best friends now, just because of that fact, where like they keep coming back to you, and you're gonna give them something more than what they asked for, just because they're like, they keep putting food on my table, and I'll give them a badass piece of glass.
Absolutely. So what got you into glass blowing? What brought you to this art medium?
Kind of the exact same story as Chris. In college, I really hurt my shoulder playing hockey, and one of the things to rehab it was I'd smoke a bunch of weed and then work out on my shoulder. And what it would do is I'd collect better and better glass so I could smoke more and more weed.
Oh. Audio technician.
Smoke more weed, and then I liked the nicer and nicer glass, and I ended up buying a Toro, and Toro got me into collecting nice high-end glass, and from there I just realized that I can actually make this by myself if I teach myself. Mm-hmm. So I took a class for Valentine's Day with my then girlfriend, and I quit school the next day because I realized that
you got bit by the bug.
Yeah, wow. Literally the next day I quit school.
The next day you quit?
I realized I had found something that I could do for the rest of my life. Granted, if I had a space to do it and the tools to do it. It's just like what my grandfather did with woodworking.
Them biting bugs will get you every time.
Oh, dude.
I tried glass blowing one time and I ended up with a whole studio in my garage.
Exactly.
It's infectious like that.
Yeah, we also, as a hobby.
Hobbyists, like triple underscore that shit, exclamation points after it, bold and everything. My custom list is not open yet. We're literally just fucking shit up and getting lucky most of the time.
You guys are welcome to come over whenever the hell you want.
Thanks, man.
Just
Yeah, that'd
melt
be fun
glass.
for sure.
Yeah.
I found these really nice heaters that are gonna keep the studio and the garage warm enough this winter without like fucking with the airflow.
Yeah.
Perfect, because that was the biggest thing. Like in the summer, trying to keep everything cool, the fan is fucking with the fucking
Exactly.
flame and the heat, and everything's cracking, and I was starting to get mad, and I was just like, screw this.
So, glass blower tip, get an AC, like an old ass AC unit, put it on the ground in front of you, and tube it up towards your nuts.
Ooh. This will get the nice underbreeze. You know what I think would go well for that? A utility kilt. One of those.
A utility kilt.
A utility
Now,
kilt.
what I saw on Instagram was one of those HVAC suit, not HVAC, the
Oh,
hazmat
yeah,
suits.
yeah. I saw
And they
that
just
too.
hooked a fan into the tube going in, so they lived in a
Ducted
bubble
in.
boy situation.
Yeah. I seen
Yep,
that.
I saw that too.
Essentially, if you want to do that cheaper, couldn't you just get one of those inflatable sumo wrestling costumes that have a fan built in?
Those are
keeping
flammable
it
as
going?
hell.
It's worth the risk. Sometimes you gotta risk it for the biscuit.
You get one hole in those, you won't be able to open it again.
Imagine trying really hard to get out of a fucking giant inflatable suit that's now on fire.
So, I mean, as an artist and as a collector, this question applies to the both of you. Who's your favorite artist in the glass blowing field? I mean, someone had to have mentored or inspired you to get into glass blowing, and something had to have inspired you to get into collecting glass.
Yeah, so there have been a couple artists that I've collected throughout like my time collecting. The first artist I really got into was Chad Lacey, who I still collect, and just I met him at a Pipe Classic. He was a super nice guy, and I was like, there are 1,000+ artists. Let me collect someone who makes incredible work and is like an incredible person.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And
Met
so
him as well at Pipe Classic.
yeah, I started collecting his work, and then he actually was with Kurt B one night at one of the after parties, and I got introduced to Kurt and started collecting Kurt's work as well, and now I'm pretty much exclusively collecting Kurt's work. Kurt B Instagram.
Pretty impressive Kurt B collection.
That you do.
I made you and Kurt B a pair of custom slides to match one of his pipes.
You got them on your feet right now?
I was gonna wear them, but then I thought like, you can't see my feet.
Yeah, no, I don't even like to wear the pair that he made for me. I've still been trying to get him out of the box, and it's like, nope.
Put them in a glass case and put them on your wall.
I think that's
Mine are in my Kurt display.
Yeah, dude, they're sick.
Who's your favorite artist?
My favorite artist is Yushin.
Machine.
Yeah, like
Big master.
when I was teaching myself, like his video that he did in maybe 2012 on YouTube that I found of him doing a reticello, I did that in my garage for maybe 8 months, just watching that video and doing it again and again and again.
He's so impressive to watch.
Yeah, he's insane.
And his pieces are absolutely gorgeous and worth every penny. And this is probably brings us into our next question. There's artwork that anybody collects.
Wait a
that anybody.
second. Who's your favorite artist, man?
It's a tie between Kurt B and Sam Lyons. They're both awesome dudes.
Oh,
Great
And,
people.
So
Great to hang out with. I'm sure I have other favorite glass artists out there, but as an all around, because I've met them and hung out with them, those two.
Nice. Hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
And Tammy Baller's definitely up there as well. She's
We were chatting about her last week.
She's
She's
the
dope.
best.
she's awesome to hang out with.
I haven't met many artists from up here.
Oh no?
No.
Oh, dude.
You gotta go to a Pipe Classic. You meet
Pipe
them all.
Classic.
I know, I missed it this year.
It's great
Chris
to just
Hubbard's
meet
awesome
everyone.
to hang out with.
The man,
Jerry Kelly.
Yeah,
quite an interesting fella.
he's got some insane work too.
Yeah.
All of his
Oh, yeah.
millies.
He's been doing millies for a really long time. You need a torch, bud?
I was gonna say,
Thank
you
you,
need my
sir.
lighter for that? That's the wrong way. So, there's artwork that anybody can collect, from $5 all the way up to thousands of dollars. And we were just talking about Yushin, and he's one of those artists that are obviously on the
Yeah.
higher spectrum, you know.
Definitely.
Exactly. And
You want to talk dream pieces?
dream pieces.
Buck skull any day, bro.
Ooh.
Do you want to talk about some crazy money pieces, and we're talking about affordability? I want to hear everyone's take on raffles. And beforehand, let's talk about this Sagan raffle that might be going down for the Sagan mothership. I don't know if you've seen that.
Is it the $1 million one?
It is. It did not go for a million. It's the 100,000.
Yeah, the 100,000 one.
So
I think my boy Mike Apollo has something to do with that. Shout out Mids Gang. I
Yeah,
know Mike
yeah,
Apollo. Yeah.
the Mids gang is definitely involved. So Uncle Earl is the current owner of that, and he was hanging out with Mike, and they were teasing that they were gonna do a raffle for it.
How much are tickets? $1,000?
I haven't followed up. I don't know. It was going to be for that. I think it was going to go for somewhere around that $100,000 price tag, though.
Yep.
I feel everybody knows my stand on it. I'm for raffles. I hold the raffles sometimes.
I think if you are, if you're filling them and people are buying the tickets and everyone's having a good time and it's transparent, like it's pretty hard to not be transparent with those. But as long as it's transparent and everyone involved is having a good time, I think the only people who don't fuck with it are people that really I think it has really nothing to do with that it's a raffle at all. I think these people are upset that people are getting into the cool kids club for a $50 ticket instead of spending 10 G's on a piece.
Yeah, I think that's something people talk about. My biggest thing with raffles, and before I say this, I want to say I'm in favor of transparent raffles, and there are exceptions to things, always, where a lot of people talk about, I don't want just anyone to have that piece, and that sounds entitled and it sounds wrong, and I understand that, but there is a level of someone can throw $50 into a raffle who won't know how to treat a piece properly and very quickly break a piece of art. And the problem that people have is the destruction of that art. At the end of the day, it's tough. It's someone else owns that and they can do what they want with it. I personally don't have a problem with raffles, but playing the devil as an advocate, that's what I hear a lot from people.
Well, you think that's what it's about?
That's something I hear a lot is people are upset with the idea of people who don't necessarily understand what that is, or that's one thing, and the other thing is people worry about the market of the pieces, because it's very easy to say hey, if someone wins a piece for $200, what's to turn them down a $10,000 offer the next day on a $20,000 piece.
My personal take on
I don't think it hurts the market.
I don't think it hurts the market overall. I think it hurts the market on that one piece, because that piece becomes a raffle piece. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think it devalues that artist or the collectors, or even if it wasn't a collector that got it, and like you said, it was somebody that didn't value it as much. But the thing is, if someone doesn't have the money to spend on a $20,000 piece and they put $200 in, that's $200 is still a lot of money for that person.
Mind you, I'm just playing devil's advocate. No, before this raffle case, 3 years ago when I first got into the game, I was raffling Sherbert collab pencils on Facebook because everyone was in the Sherbert wave. He was killing it.
Still big.
And I had a lot of these $200 pencils that were the collabs, and people weren't really ready to spend that kind of money, but everyone wanted to throw $10 down on a raffle.
Yeah.
And my mindset's always been, if you can give people the opportunity to own their dream piece, that's amazing. And there are always going to be circumstances where something could happen, but that happens nonetheless. And I think as far as devaluing the art goes, I don't think it's going to devalue anything. You can say, it might devalue that specific piece, but that piece is usually a piece that's been sitting for a while and not selling for that retail.
It's very true.
For it to then raffle for the retail or to raffle for a fair value, there are times where people will then heckle you and be like, "Oh, you should sell it to me for a steal," but
but that's still a come up.
Yeah, it's still a come up, but it's also it's your choice whether or not you sell it.
Exactly.
And it's also you can wait and give it 6 months, give it even a month, and that raffle piece can be sold for just as much as it was raffled for, if you know what you're doing and you know the market.
Or the person that wins it doesn't want to sell it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the person that's buying it has to make an offer on it, and it's whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Like, if a lot of people entering these raffles like aren't necessarily doing it to make a come up. No. There are people entering them to make a come up. I'm not trying to be naive, but a lot of these people are entering because it's like, hey, I either have this much to spend, or a lot of the people I see entering these raffles, I know them, they're big ballers. They're like, I don't mind tossing $200 for the chance at that dream piece, because they're not going to spend $20,000, because that's a lot of money. No matter how much money you're making, dropping $20,000 on a piece of art is a lot, and it's something where like if you can just spend $200 and have a chance, why not? Especially if you can afford to do that.
I don't think anyone has the opportunity to get mad, because what I think it boils down to is how much did it leave the person owning its hands for. If the raffle brought in the retail value is still the retail value, regardless, and that's how much the person owning it got rid of it for. I really don't think there's any reason to be I think people just need to mind their own shit.
I love the raffles. I think it's stimulating the glass market as
I think maybe it's excessive if you're like doing 1,000 tickets at $100 a piece, and the rig only costs $500. I think that's
where I have the problem. Like, that's when I was saying I'm all
obviously
for
that was
raffles.
a super dramatic example.
Well, there are things like that. I'm all for raffles with the exceptions, and those exceptions boil down to holding fair raffles where you're not overpricing the piece because it's a raffle, and really being transparent. And I see it a lot with, and like, not to call out like an entire subgroup, but I see it a lot with salve slides, where people are taking salve slides that are $60 and raffling them for $100 because it's $10 tickets, and people are still willing to pay $10 for the chance of the slide, but they're making an extra $40, and it's like, right there, I somewhat disagree with that. And so I have those hesitations with raffles when it's not a fair priced raffle. But as long as everything's priced, it's hard to like say like a market price for glass. But as long as things aren't outrageous, then it's perfect. Thank you so much.
That's the whole thing, is as long as they're not outrageous.
I think the best raffles around right now are the ones that John's and Ascension Art Gallery are holding. They have some of the nicest and dopest pieces. Oh yeah,
we'll give a shout out to Ascension real quick, because they've been doing some transparent raffles. There are a lot of people out here doing raffles right now, and it's one of those things where as long as you are being transparent, I think there's no problem.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
I'm glad I got that on camera.
Wow.
Oh shit!
Just sent it.
Speaking of fat joints and fat piles of weed, that's a pretty dope shirt. Is that a new design?
Thanks, man. You damn right it is. And this Black Friday, today, you can log on to www.fatjointlifestyle.com. Black Friday only. We're doing free shipping, $20 for our new design. Go check us out. Thank you very much.
I'm going to get one of those.
That was totally not a shameless plug.
Not a shameless plug. fatjointlifestyle.com. Check us out. Yeah, I guess all my fat joint supplies are on the table now here.
So, Colin's picking up a whole giant pile of weed right now. This is hilarious. So,
whole lot of weed.
when you lived all around in all these different states, were you blowing glass?
For the past 7 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's been Utah, Colorado. Am I muted? It's been Utah, Colorado, Alaska, Connecticut, and Rhode Island so far for the past 7 years.
For actually working in this industry, and you worked for?
I worked for
a pretty famous company in the glass industry.
Yeah, I worked for Sav for a little bit. I worked there for about a week. We were doing these over here, the spiraled up stuff, cane, and I was doing the reticello cane. like I said, I was in my garage doing Usheen reticellos the whole time. I sent those to Sav, won this little contest that they were having, and got to go out to California where they were and work for them for a week and see if I was a good fit. And that was a year into blowing glass. I had never worked. Awesome. Yeah, I'd never worked on a torch that. It was a GTT Mirage with a foot pedal, and I was working on a Bethlehem Alpha.
Yeah.
So like I was way out of my element, but.
And you have a Champs hat on. Have you ever competed at Champs?
I have never competed at Champs. I went there as a buyer when I lived in Alaska because I helped start up a dispensary up there that was also a head shop.
Mm-hmm. Champs trade shows.
I've
been to the Vegas one.
Yep.
With my homie Visionary Glass, or Rich Villa right now.
I think he's coming on,
killing it.
Yeah, Rich Villa, Messy Glass.
He's been stepping up his game lately.
Some local artists are going to definitely grace us with coming on besides Whitetail.
I think,
we had a little smoke emergency apparently.
Apparently we're getting
smoked way
seriously
too much
stoned.
weed.
Yeah.
Shout out Chris for that joke. I just sniped his opportunity to say that.
He did the joke right though. The joke was like, we don't remember what we were talking about because we're seriously stoned.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're seriously stoned.
That's completely true as well.
Yep.
So, let's go to a different question, I guess.
What's your dream piece, man? Besides
my
fuck the
dream
glass
piece?
blowing, fuck the artist. Like,
Yeah,
if
do you
could-
collect as
no
well?
price tag.
I used to collect. I make what I used to collect now.
That's always cool.
Yeah. Like I got into glass to make these big bongs, and now I make those big bongs. But dream piece, it definitely would be probably a Team Japan Yushin collab.
Team Japan, Eugene.
Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be heat.
What about you, Chris?
Whew. I don't know.
You always say it's this Kirby piece, that Kirby piece, but you've already got most of them.
It's tough. I grab a dream piece quite regularly.
What about a honey bear?
A honey bear is on the list. If we're talking about like absolute dream pieces, I do a set real quick, and I'd say there's a dude with a Swiss perk honey bear bong.
Oh, I've seen that.
That's the dream flower tube for sure. And then Nate Dizzle the man. And then I definitely would love to find out where that honey bear collab with Babe Duran went. Chad Lacey's wife, because that thing is beautiful.
So Kurt and Kurt.
Yeah,
accessories.
mostly Kurt at this point. I think there are other artists that I'd love to have in the collection, but like I have the most like sentimental feeling with those pieces. I really like the bears. I need to get one in the collection soon. But yeah, I don't know. Those pieces both seem they have sentimental value if I would be able to attain them, especially knowing where the Swiss perk is now. It's a buddy of mine has it.
Oh shit!
And
you
so
know
it'd
where
be
it
sick.
is.
Yeah, I know where that one is. That one's not for sale though. And neither is the other one. That's the problem. Most Kurt work goes into a collection and stays not for sale. So.
What about you?
As you can see by the Mike G check I have here, I'm a big fan of like the firearms style glass blowing. So definitely like a Rami Nicholson would be real cool. I think his work's fucking amazing. Besides him, the Buck Skull.
A buck skull. That's a dream piece.
Which what kind of skull?
I go for the gator if I'm going dream piece.
I don't really care, man. They're also out of my league right now that I've just
Saber-tooth.
No,
I don't
so
even bother
my
looking.
dream piece isn't even that expensive, well, I guess it's kind of expensive. It'd be the Lions Snodgrass mini tube collab.
That is a great dream piece, and that is quite expensive.
It is quite expensive, but it's not when you're comparing it to.
Well, it is when you're comparing it to Tojo's math equation he put out today, where he was saying he's never selling pieces. Maybe if you give him 4 times market value, I'd say that piece, from what the math he was saying, be around 100K for you to grab that one. He's a true collector,
he's a true collector,
and that's what I love. He's a guy who grabs a piece and it's like, no, you're not buying it from me, no matter
He has some of the most
what.
beautiful pieces out there, and that's you know exactly which one I'm talking about, with the top hat on top of the mini tube.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
These are the guys in like 10 years when everything's legal, they're going to have museums.
Yep.
And their pieces are literally going to be functional museums.
There's definitely room for a lot of these pieces in actual art.
Oh,
Shout out
Speaking
DC
of which,
Colton.
Corning,
hey,
yeah.
not to interrupt everybody, but I remember what we were talking about. We were talking about our homie SF Glass.
Oh, yeah.
Steve
SF
Marino.
Glass.
Yep.
He's in a hospital right now, laid up in a bed. If you guys can go find it in your hearts to go donate to his GoFundMe, his family would very much appreciate it.
And we'll have the link to the GoFundMe in the bio of this YouTube video, so definitely check that out.
Hopefully he watches this while he's in his bed.
There's also going to be a charity auction going down.
I
You
made
made
that Sherlock.
a Sherlock.
Whitetail.
I'm going to be hosting the auction, I believe, on the 203 Hetty page, so you can check it out on there.
Awesome, thank you guys.
Yeah, and all of the proceeds are going to go to Steve's family.
100%.
Yeah.
100% going to Steve's family.
100%.
You know, like, not to get too into it, but they're talking about, like,
think we might
a couple
do
months in the
110.
hospital and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
That shit definitely adds up real quick. So any bit you can find to help, especially now at the holidays.
Even if you can't donate money, send him a message on Instagram, SF Glass, on Instagram, and just send him some love.
Yeah, put a link to it in the bio.
Yeah,
Send him
for
some
sure.
titties.
Just send him some love. He's a great dude and a great member of this community.
He's an awesome friend, and he would take the shirt off his back for anybody.
110%.
Oh, that's gotta go all the way around.
It was a pleasure. I got to see him last night, actually, for the first time. since
Nice,
he's been
that's-
in.
Well, that's great. How's he doing?
He's talking and doing better than he was.
Hey, every day is an improvement. That's all that matters. So what's the biggest tube you've ever made?
Biggest tube I've ever made is 26 inches tall.
26.
So just over 2 feet tall.
That's what she said.
Huge. 26.
And that's only because I have a very small lathe.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yep.
Craziest thing you've ever made?
Cremation pendant on the inside of a double recycler.
Ooh, that's going down style.
Yeah. That one.
Craziest thing you've ever smoked out of?
Oh,
He smoked out of some heaters.
I've been fortunate to meet some nice collectors that let me get some gems over my day. Dude, that is really tough.
Probably, I would say
I really like the Nate Myers Quave as far as recyclers go. Not a big recycler guy, but I do like Quaves.
Nate's
that
work is
thing,
killer.
yeah, Nate's prep on that thing is incredible.
I think the craziest thing I've taken a dab off of is the lace face piece that Scuba had out at Pipe Classic.
Yeah, the lace faces are sick. The one Scuba brought out, the Kraken, was a gem. The second place piece was also incredible. It ripped really well. And actually, on that note, the first place piece that you this past year, the Cerdo, it was an incredible display piece. The actual functional piece of it was quite small, and it just threw water. Like, it shredded. It was a great functioning rig, and I really hope to see him do something with that style on a smaller scale where he can get that function out to more people without necessarily... without necessarily like, I don't know, repeating the design.
What is that fucking noise?
Table.
Just a table.
Yeah, it's been doing that the whole time.
Must be glass.
And just out of nowhere, we
Hey,
all
glass,
decided
bro.
to stop talking for it. It really confused me. I'm like in the middle of this, and like Colin's looking at me, and
I'm like trying to fucking figure out where this shit's at.
Seriously
We can-
stoned.
No, we're gonna chop. Dom chops
This is
his
a
curse
wild-
too.
So,
Yeah.
I saw this Mr. Gray Gateson the other day that came into the Summit Lounge.
Mr. Gray Gateson.
Yeah, collab.
Oh,
It was a Mr. Gray, you know, the guy that does the
yeah,
leads.
I know.
Was it
I know the
New
piece
England's boy
actually.
from
It's
One World Gallery?
it's the triple.
Yeah, the
Giant-
triple
yeah.
recycler with the Gateson piece
It's
up
a
on top.
beautiful piece. I'm trying to think of who owns it.
isn't it?
I don't
New
remember.
England's?
I know he had it. I believe it went through One World Gallery. I'm not
Shout out One World.
positive. Yeah, shout out One World. They're killing it too. Great people. Great people doing great things. But yeah, I don't know. That just confused me because like I've seen that piece many times. But yeah, that
Yeah.
thing's insane. Speaking of the Mr. Gray, that Mr. Gray banjo. Now that thing functions. That thing functions. You rip the Mr. Gray banjo? Oh yeah, you must have.
Freedom Air like 2 years ago. He had it by the Empire Lounge, and yeah.
That thing's a function junction.
Man, you got all the squirt guns, huh?
Yeah, full set. Shout out Lily's Glass. They got
So,
that.
when's the next Heady Swap meet? Do you have one planned?
The next one is not gonna be until January. We're not doing one in December because of Christmas and everything. We're gonna have a small like pop-up sesh, but nothing big. And then yeah, I think it's gonna be January in Vermont, and then February we'll be back in Mass.
That'll be dope.
And then it'll be every month, just back and forth between
Yeah.
the two states. That's awesome. Anything you wanted to plug while you're here?
The Summit Soiree. It's our New Year's Eve party. We're going to be having giveaways every hour on the hour from, I believe, 7 o'clock until midnight.
Nice.
And I'll be giving away a full-size piece at the end at the ball drop.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the score.
Lounge.
Summit Lounge, yeah.
Where
Shout
can
out
you
them.
get tickets? Summit.
Summit Lounge, Kaya Gardening as well. You can hit up Kaya Gardening.
Awesome. Shout out Kai. He was a guest last week.
Yep.
Love that bastard.
Speaking of guests, next week
Old Soul.
is Old Soul Gardens and
Urban Genetics, right?
Urban Genetics.
So yeah, shout out to gang.
So
Nice.
look forward to talking to another couple growers. One of which is going to be head cultivator at a facility, and
Yeah, yeah. Urban Genetics is got some cool work
he's
on
doing
there.
his thing. Yeah.
So it'll be cool
Look
to talk
forward
to
to
someone
talking to
who's
them. If you guys have any questions, send them into Seriously Stoned.
seriously
on-
dot stoned.
Seriously.stoned on Instagram, or Dubsglass710, or Mass Connection,
The Connection
the
Selection.
Connection Selection.
Yeah, hell yeah. And thank you to our two guests for coming out this week. We
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks
you
for
guys
having
making
Again,
the trip
Whitetail
out.
Glass and the Heady Swap Meet, or 203 Heady.
Shout out to crew. Thanks for coming out, guys. We appreciate it. Hope you guys got as stoned as I did. I've just been sitting here like a
Yeah.
fucking couch potato for the last 30 minutes, just stoned out of my tree. So
And again, we'll be bringing our new podcast to you from
YouTube.com. We're waiting for iTunes to get their shit together so they can put us on there so you can fucking listen to just our voices.
Yep. And you can also download our voices right from our website,
Right to your phone.
seriously-stoned.com. Yep.
Thank you
All
for
free.
listening. Don't forget to subscribe,
Be,
follow, like, share, do all that fun shit. Thank you very much. We appreciate you for coming out.
Yeah, we'll be at the Care Factory next week. So
Stay tuned.
Looking forward to it.